Well, it's time to talk World Cup action. We're talking about the 10th edition of the FIFA Futsal World Cup, and a bit of a shock announcement as it will be hosted in Uzbekistan.
Your girl knows about the Uzbeks.
Oh. That's right. It's time to get familiar with Uzbekistan because in September and October of next year, beginning the 14th of September through the 6th of October, 2024, that's about 14 months away, we are going to see Uzbekistan as they host their first ever FIFA event. It's going to be the World Cup going live in Asia. It's a 24-team field again next year. We're going to see 4 more teams joining Uzbekistan from the Asian Federation. We're going to see 3 teams from the African region. We're going to see 4 from CONCACAF. We're going to see 4 from South American region. And we're going to see 1 from Oceania. And then finally, 7 UEFA teams will be joining us in the contest next year, which is super exciting, of course. We're going to see some really great talent in this upcoming World Cup. I'm sure of it. But in the meantime, what are we looking at here for Uzbekistan? Well, first of all, it's a debut for them in hosting FIFA events, a really great opportunity for a country that is growing both in futsal at an exponential rate, as well as in football in the outdoor side of the game. Really awesome opportunity for the country. Hopefully they see a bit of a spurt. When we look at last year's contest with Lithuania, the last World Cup against Lithuania, we saw that they unfortunately were hindered by COVID. It delayed the tournament. There was questions on what that would mean for future scheduling. So we're actually only 3 years since our last World Cup, cup to cup. Lithuania does seem to have seen a bit of a boost in futsal from hosting this tournament, albeit there wasn't very much attendance at those games based on the nature of the world at the time. But this is plenty of planning time for a country with plenty of infrastructure. They're going to have the arenas to put this contest together. In fact, when FIFA was looking at Uzbekistan as a potential host, they found 5 different cities, including the capital, in 6 different venues that they are entertaining. So it sounds like this World Cup may be hosted at multiple venues on a little bit larger scale than what we saw in Lithuania. Obviously, with the world being a little more wide open, that's a little more possible. It's nothing against the past host. It's just a matter of the world we live in today compared to 3 years ago. So great opportunity for the cities. A lot of what will be final decisions on these venues will be based on capacity, size, hotel venues in the area, all the things it'll take to host multiple teams and hopefully fans from all different countries as they come to Uzbekistan to enjoy the lovely game of futsal. If you're wondering how they came into consideration for this, Uzbekistan has been on an absolute upward trajectory in futsal for quite some time. They debuted in the World Cup for the first time for futsal in 2016, where they did make it to the knockout stages, and most memorably in the last World Cup in 2021, they lost by 1 goal in an absolute thriller against Iran that ended 9-8 in the round of 16. So they have really moved forward in futsal. Iran, guys, is one of the top 5 countries in the world when it comes to futsal. They are an absolute powerhouse. So for Uzbekistan to give them a run for our money, let alone score 8 goals against a team like Iran, is really monumental, just to put that into perspective if you guys don't understand. So what does that mean now? Uzbekistan also is a 4-time runner-up. It also has seen the podium 4 other times, as noted in the FIFA article that announced their appointment. But more importantly is who else was in the running for this. A lot of people assumed, I shouldn't say assumed, but the rumor mill was really churning towards Morocco. Morocco's seen their own upward trajectory in both futsal and in football, more on a global stage and more on the top side of results compared to maybe Uzbekistan. The Moroccan fans, I can tell you, are absolutely amazing. We even saw some fan art leading up to this announcement for Morocco and, what a potential logo could look like. A lot of people were fantasizing already of this World Cup being in Morocco. So when I say that this was a shock announcement, that's where the shock value was. Almost all the experts, almost all the folks in the know that I follow on Twitter and other social media platforms were thinking this was going to be a sure thing for Morocco. Not to put words in their mouth, but that was certainly the implication of a lot of the tweets and a lot of the posts. And rightfully so. Morocco definitely deserves a shot at hosting a World Cup. I saw a couple people speculate that maybe Morocco will be a part of something bigger as far as football is concerned, and maybe that's why they were passed over for this particular World Cup. But nonetheless, there were other teams, of course, other countries, excuse me, of course, considered. Hearing very loose rumors that Indonesia was considered. Paraguay was considered. Paraguay just hosting the Copa Libertadores for the women's side. A video coming out on that soon, guys, if you're interested in that, which I encourage you to check out, as well as France. So France with an up-and-coming futsal scene as well, and some really beautiful venues being built that are specifically built around having the capacity for a court, full-size court for futsal, is really pulling their league play up as well, and the attractiveness of that. Finally, guys, most importantly, I wanted to talk about some other announcements that were made during this press conference for the World Cup. Some things that may be flying under the radar as far as futsal is concerned. If you're unaware, futsal is a part of the Junior Olympics. Argentina was a big part of making that happen back in 2018, and the next Junior Olympics is coming up, but we have not yet been able to break into the Adult Olympics, which has created some stir in other countries as far as their involvement in the sport of futsal. We've covered that in other videos already, but it sounds like FIFA is still discussing with the Olympic Committee about making futsal a part of the Olympic Games. They touched on that briefly in this press conference. They also mentioned that the Women's World Cup that they announced late last year that would be coming soon, projection of 2025 for when we hear an announcement on the future of that World Cup. So it sounds like that is slowly being planned out. I don't know if that's because they want to make sure it gets off the ground running and they're being meticulous, or if it's not a priority. Of course, that's not clear. They're not going to say that one way or the other, but everyone's still anxiously awaiting that first ever Women's Futsal World Cup. Sounds like 2025 will be when we hear more news on that. Hopefully it's not forgotten. Hopefully we don't have to see another campaign pushing for that. But in the meantime, tons of excitement around this announcement for Uzbekistan. Plenty of time to plan, plenty of time to get excited. Guys, make sure to keep an eye out because there are already World Cup qualifiers going on in the UEFA region. I am sure that we will see more live streams and games coming soon. I know that for CONCACAF, that time is going to be coming, I believe, this fall. It's usually about a year out from the World Cup. I'm hearing rumors from some other things that are going on in the futsal space in the United States that that's roughly where things will land. So keep an eye out for that. We'll be covering that when the time comes and see where the United States falls with all their recent changes in their attempt to return to the World Cup. What do you guys think about this announcement? And what do you guys think about countries like Lithuania and Uzbekistan hosting smaller cup competitions like Futsal World Cups? For me personally, if I'm going to put any amount of personal opinion into this video, it would be that it's exciting. I think it gives smaller countries an opportunity to host something that could be economically valuable to them and also boost not only futsal, but football in their countries and that interest. It's only going to grow the sport globally by doing so. And it also creates a great opportunity for these smaller countries to see that economic impact and see maybe a light shown on their cultural perspective of those countries as well. When you look at Uzbekistan, there's some beautiful architecture, beautiful landscape, and a lot of history behind this country. I encourage you guys to go look it up. If that puts you into your rabbit hole on Google for the day, then good for you. I know I certainly went down a rabbit hole myself and learned a little bit about the country, including the fact that it is a major exporter of some precious metals that we like to wear and enjoy. So something interesting that if you haven't heard of that country before, maybe that's how you remember it, and go check them out. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments about what you think about this World Cup and that announcement. And until I hear from you in the comments, don't forget to play with your soul.